Hello, this is Jay Yashar of showandtellpromo.com/design. And this video is going to be the first of a series of videos on basic drawing techniques. And this kind of picks up where we left off in the video and thumbnail design and thumbnail creation. But this video basically expounds on that, because in that video we talked about the basic shapes, the sphere or circle, square, triangle, and how many of the objects that you come across in everyday life can be reduced down to their most rudimentary forms as being either one of these or a combination of these shapes. And so the very next step from there is to add depth, or if you want to use the word thickness, but you want to get away from the flat appearance. These are definitely two-dimensional. But when you really get into drawing, then you're talking about three dimensions. You're talking about adding the thickness, the solidness to the object. And that's what gives it that realistic look and the appeal to the eye, to your audience, to the person that's viewing your artwork or your brochure or whatever it may be. If you were to take this skill and to apply it to everyday design need, you may be creating business cards or what have you, and your logo may be a basic drawing that you've done. And so these skills are they're needful, they're useful. And again, not everybody's an artist, but I believe that some of these core principles you can learn, you can pick up, and you can work with, and you may even discover that there is an artist hidden within. So let's go ahead and get started here. I want to introduce a fourth shape, which kind of is a combination of things. But if you were to take the basic rectangle shape, turn it up so that it's sitting up like this, and then you want to add a very flat circle, if you would, to the top and to the bottom, and what you have here is a cylinder. In 3 dimensions, this would be more like a cone. If I add that to the bottom there, and you can start to see that cone shape. You flip this over and it's an ice cream cone, or a clown hat. And so you can begin to see depth as we add dimension to these objects. You've got that square is now a cube. I can see a fish tank there. And then for your sphere, this gets a little bit more complicated because we don't have defined edges like you've got here. The cone, or the cone's here, but the cylinder, you've got some straight edges to work with, and you've got the roundness down there and up there. The box is easy, but with the sphere excuse me, you have to start to add shading to show that this is a round object. You have to show the light kind of hitting one angle, and so you want to pick, say your light source is coming from this direction, so it's going to be brightest here, it's going to be darkest on this side. So we can begin to add some lines to represent the shadow. Think in terms of a ball or a planet. Because the light source is coming from the top and from the right, then you're going to get a little bit more shading underneath. And so now you can begin to see that take shape, and of course then there's going to be a shadow that's cast in this direction. And that shadow is going to be darkest directly underneath, and then it's going to feather off and get lighter as you get out there. So now we've kind of gone a step further with the sphere as opposed to with the cube, because you could kind of represent the dimensions just with lines. We haven't even done shading with this one yet, or with this, but with the sphere you kind of have to go there to show depth, solidness, mass. But you can do that to all of these if you want to. If we take that same direction for the light source, then your light is hitting here, so this area is obviously going to be darkest. Then this side is going to be, that's going to be the lightest area. Then it gets darker over here, and you won't see those other sides obviously. And then of course you have that basic box shape. Something like that. With the cone, a little bit more tricky, but not impossible to work with. On this side, and it gets lighter as we move around there. And real quickly with the cylinder, and now I'm going through this really fast, hopefully not too fast, but you know, we've only got 10 minutes to work with, so now you can kind of see where we've taken the objects from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions by giving thickness, shading, shadows, a light source. And so that's the core, that's your basics of design. Hopefully this was beneficial to you. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then stop by showandtellpromo.com/design for other tips, tutorials, and videos on how to make your design look the best.